I chickened out because it's so scary down there.
Came over, she's like,
we just come up to a nice looking spot. It looks like there's a heap of bait fish on the bottom. Really, really nice and thick. So we jump in and see if we can find a John Dory, a Kingfish, Trevally, something like that. Let's see how we go.
Typically in New Zealand, as you come into the start of spring, the fish are starting to congregate and beginning to spawn. With this, they tend to come in a lot closer into the coastline and into the inner islands in the Hauraki Gulf. The very first dive, you could see what was showing up on the sounder. A thick, thick blanket of jack mackerel. With all this bait dancing around all over the place, there's surely got to be some kingfish close by. All New Zealand's predatory fish become very active feeders at this time of year. As when they're beginning to spawn, they feed right up on bait. I work along the reef edge and reposition myself, trying to find the right spot to be on the bottom. In this dirty water, it's important to move around, as you could be 10 meters off the hot spot and not see the fish. As the bait fish engulf me, check out these big kingfish that come in. I plant a perfect shot in the hard bony area in the head and instantly stone the fish. I can see the spear hasn't gone the whole way through, but it's wedged right in that bone. I hand the camera over to Sophie and don't muck around in getting hold of this fish before it might come back to life. It's so important when spearing kingfish in New Zealand, you want to get them out of the water as soon as you can. So I take this fish back to the boat before any bronze whalers turn up. A fantastic fish to get along this coastline.
I followed you down. I chickened out because it's so scary down there.
Came over, she's like, the bait fish are darting around. I was like, that's why they're darting around. The Trevally are big enough to eat the bait fish.
After a few photos and a tidy up, it's back in the water to see what else might be down there with all this exciting action. Although it's dirty and gloomy, it's so exciting with all this bait fish on the bottom. You never know what might turn up. In comes some more kingfish. But of course with that big one that I just speared, I don't need to shoot another one. But in comes some nice trevally. Another perfect shot with my Weddy Reef Pro Carbon. Just like the kingfish, the trevally are schooling up and getting a really nice condition as they're beginning to spawn. So they make fantastic eating. During spring and summer, the coastline in Auckland is absolutely alive with fish. Often people want to head far offshore, but you're missing out on some of the best spearfishing that we have in New Zealand. These inshore locations get absolutely loaded with bait fish, trevally, kingfish, snapper, boarfish, John Dory, and many other great eating species. In these conditions, with the fish being so active and it being quite dirty, I'm staying reasonably high up off the bottom and scanning all around me, as you never know where the fish might come from. If I'm too low to the bottom, I won't have a good view. Once I spot a nice school of big trevally, I lower my profile to the bottom, throw up a bit of sand to gain their curiosity and land a shot. We only intended for a short dive, so after a couple of these nice trevally, that big kingfish, it was time to head in shallow and see if we could find maybe some snapper to add to the catch. Sophie is snooping through these nice looking gutters to see if there's any snapper parked up. It's a likely looking spot and there are a few snappers sitting in the current, but they're quite difficult to approach. There's a nice snapper sitting out on the sand, but too far for me to get close to. So we decided to set up a quick ground bait with the guts from the kingfish that I'd speared earlier. Unfortunately, it wasn't the best of spots as you had a lot of light reflection off that white rock, which makes it very easy for the snapper to spot us. And this nice fish scoots away before Sophie can get in range. We had one more attempt, but again the snapper were a little bit too smart for us on this occasion. I would have been better putting this ground bait closer to areas of kelp, which dulls down the light and makes it a little bit less easy for the snapper to spot us. It was nice to see good patches of butterfish up in the shallows. They too are likely gathering up to spawn at this time of year. But on this occasion, with plenty of kingfish in the chili bin, I decide to leave the butterfish alone as they get quite a hard time on these coastal areas. Stay tuned as we have so much more action coming up.